This is another narrative that you're going to hear, that Joe Biden said that it's time to put Donald Trump in the crosshairs, and therefore Joe Biden is to blame for all of this, right? You're going to hear that a lot in the coming days. What is this referring to? Well, since the shooting, Republicans have been faulting Biden's past rhetoric about Trump. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Sunday said President Joe Biden should be called out for political attacks on former President Donald Trump that have contributed to what he described as a heated political environment. He urged political leaders on both sides of the aisle to turn down the rhetoric the morning after Trump was injured on stage in a shooting during a Pennsylvania campaign rally. "We've got to turn the temperature down in this country," Johnson said on NBC's Today Show. "We need leaders of all parties on both sides to call that out and make sure that happens so that we can go forward and maintain our free society that we all are blessed to have." He then pointed to Democratic criticism of Trump less than 4 months from this year's presidential election. Something obviously Donald Trump doesn't do to Biden, right? Quote, "When the message goes out constantly that the election of Donald Trump would be a threat to democracy and that the republic would end, I mean, it heats up the environment," the Louisiana Republican said on NBC. "We cannot do that. It's simply not true. Everyone needs to turn the rhetoric down." You can pause to read the rest of this here. You can pause if you want to read this. You can see how J.D. Vance said this is not some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. You can see that Tim Scott, another potential VP pick, said, "Let's be clear, this was an assassination attempt aided and embedded by the radical left and corporate media, incessantly calling Trump a threat to democracy, fascist, and worse." And then we get to what they're talking about with the crosshairs. Johnson and others pointed to language Biden used in a recent private call with donors, not to the general public, not in a speech, not at a rally, in a private call to donors in which he urged Democrats to drop their ongoing conversation about whether or not the 81-year-old president should exit the race in the wake of his poor performance in his June presidential debate with Trump and shift their focus back on defeating Trump. Quote, "We're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in the bullseye," Biden said on that call, a recording of which was obtained by CNN. So the President of the United States, in a private call with donors, not speaking to the general public, saying we should shift our attention back on trying to defeat Donald Trump in November. That was a call to rhetoric. That's unacceptable. Him saying that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy in the public sphere is a threat, is an incitement to violence according to them. But this isn't.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. If this election isn't won, I'm not sure that you'll ever have another election in this country. I actually say that the date, remember this, November 5th, I believe it's going to be the most important date in the history of our country. I believe that. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. I just happen to be standing in the way.
So Trump saying to his reporters, if I'm not elected, you'll never have another election again, and that there'll be a bloodbath? I mean, Speaker Johnson, what you're saying that Biden is doing that's wrong is exactly what Trump's doing. What Biden did was tell his donors that we need to refocus on beating Donald Trump in a private phone call. You guys are fucking reaching at this point in time.